Hey guys, I'm Brett the Nerdy Engineer. I'm traveling this week, which unfortunately means I'm driving a rental car. And it quickly became apparent that there's a lot of little features on Tesla that I've really grown to love. I kind of got into the rental car and was thoroughly disappointed with the state of internal combustion engine cars. And honestly, this car really isn't that bad. Before I had the Tesla, I would have thought this was a pretty decent car. It's a 2016 Ford Edge. It's got the, not sure, that's probably about a 7 or 8 inch touchscreen and push button start, heated seats. It has cruise control, but it's not the smart cruise control. So you actually have to not only steer, but some of the other modern cars now have the adaptive cruise control, which will slow down when there's a slow car in front of you. Unfortunately, the Ford Edge does not have that. Uh, and there's no remote start. I couldn't. Obviously, there's no app, but even the key does not have remote start on it. So it's pretty cold this morning, and I had to come out here and get in the car. I couldn't just preheat it with the key fob. As you can see, the backup camera is very low resolution compared to the Tesla. This is basically what every other backup camera I've ever seen looked like. I was never until I got the Tesla that I realized, wow, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You should put an HD camera in your your backup camera. So the thing that I'm dreading the most, actually, there's really two things. The first is driving without autopilot. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine. It's gonna suck driving on the interstate without autopilot. But the other thing is when I go to return the rental car, I have to fill it up with gas. I haven't been to a gas station in months, so I'm really not looking forward to having to stop at a smelly, stinky gas station and pump gas. But uh, it's just one of the things that got to do until everybody goes electric. So hopefully, hopefully the Model 3 is the kick in the pants that the other companies need to really get their act together and produce these electric cars. Funny story, yesterday when I was going to get something to eat, I put the car in park and started to get out and completely forgot to turn the car off. If it weren't for the noisiness of the engine, I would have left that car running. I was halfway out of the car and realized, oh crap, I forgot to turn the car off. So if it weren't for that noisy engine, I just would have left that car on. I have forgotten to lock it also. That's not as big of a deal. I don't feel like people are really going around, testing door handles all that often to see if the car is locked or unlocked. But yeah, forgetting to turn it off, that's that's a big dumb move on my part. If you're ever kind of doubting your decision to get a Tesla, or just rent a gasoline car for a day, and it's an eye opener. You will go back to your Tesla and absolutely love it again. There's so many little convenience features that when I first got the Tesla, I didn't really appreciate as much. The self-closing doors and those sort of little things. You're like, oh, that's neat, but I don't really need that. After using it for a while, you really start to become accustomed to those little features. And then when you go to a gasoline car, it's amazing how advanced Teslas are compared to everything else out there. Very eye-opening. And I could have done much worse with this rental car. There's a lot of cars that still nowadays don't even have a backup camera. They don't have push button start. You have to use a key to start them and stop them. So I could have done much worse. I lucked out with this rental car, and it still feels like very outdated technology compared to the Tesla. So I'm now back in Denver, and just wanted to give a little bit more information about driving with the rental car. I only had to drive probably about an hour and a half each way, each day. And man, it was just really exhausting. And it occurred to me that it's because I wasn't driving a Tesla. Not just the autopilot with the auto steering, that's the obvious one, which, I mean, that is a huge benefit. But even the adaptive cruise control, whenever I'd come on up to a car that was going slower than me, I'd have to take it out of cruise control or slow down the cruise control. And you just don't have to do that in a Tesla. And granted, there are a lot of other cars nowadays that do have that feature. This rental car didn't have it. But yeah, that's just one extra little thing you had to worry about when you're driving, and also speed limit signs. In the Tesla, it reads the speed limit signs and displays it on the dash, so I never have to worry about that. But in the rental car, I had to be on the lookout for the speed limit signs to make sure that I wasn't speeding. And so it was just one more thing that I had to focus on while driving. And all that stuff just is really exhausting. I I'm now fully convinced that Teslas are the perfect road tripping car. You know, most people would think that being an electric car, you really should only drive it around town. But honestly, Teslas are the perfect road tripping car because, you know, they've got the 200 to 300 mile range, which that's supplemented with the superchargers. So every few hours you stop for, 45 minutes or so, grab a bite to eat, and you recharge your car, and it's free. So that kind of being free, that offsets the minor inconvenience of having to stop at a designated spot to charge and having to stop for 30 to 45 minutes depending on how much charge you need. And then with Autopilot and all those other things, it's just Teslas really are a great road tripping car. They also have a ton of space because you don't have an engine, so you've got the front with extra storage space. There's a lot of space in the back too. So they're truly the best road tripping car in my mind. Well, thank you guys for listening to me complain. I know it's a great problem to have. And honestly, before I had the Tesla, the Ford Edge would have been a great rental car. I would have been really stoked to get it. It was better than my old car I had. So it just kind of helps put things in perspective when you drive a car that's not a Tesla. So any of you Tesla owners out there, if you're starting to feel a little like you're taking your car for granted, just go drive a regular car for a day and you'll fall in love with your Tesla again. It's amazing all the little things that really do set Teslas apart.